What's up, SNA Assassinators? This is Super Ninja Austin back here with another video. And this is the week one edition of the Great American Bash edition of NXT on July 30th, 2024. And yeah, what a pay-per-view premium live event or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, not premium live. I mean, what a pay-per-view worthy show, I should say. It was pretty decently great. And I would say, I'm not sure if decent is the perfect term to use. I would say it was very, I'll say extraordinary, more likely. But yeah, then I apologize before I begin reviewing the video and explaining what exactly went down. Oral Menza and All Ego Ethan Page does not wrestle tonight. On the week one for the NXT Championship, that won't be until the second week. I thought it was at first, but at second, I was thinking I was thinking maybe it will be the same night. When I heard on the betting odds for this week's episode, I guess the betting online made a huge mistake on that and a huge error. But they did hype up for the second week of NXT Great American Bash with Noel and Oral Menza and All Ego Ethan Page. I did it again, like if they're Britney Spears. Well, more likely Oral Menza did it again, like if he's Britney Spears. But we're gonna talk about that in just a moment. But yeah, we had a awesome main event, and we also have a couple other matches like the women's tag team matches and also the Heritage Cup trophy match, and it was like how we predicted it for tonight. But at the same time, they were averagely entertaining, if that makes sense. Of course, that's the best way to describe NXT Great American Bash Week 1. But yeah, it started off with the metaphor with what's their names? Lash Legend, what's her name? Jakar Jackson against what's their names? The current women's tag team champions, the unholy union of Albert Fire and Isla Dawn. But before we got into this is where we got a little special what's that segment between Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, with them going to this dark building, looking like they're trying to rob it or steal something very valuable from it, which that's kind of the same as robbing the place. But they were not doing that. They were much rather fixing the lights because they went out, because it just blew out, and I believe it blew a fuse, and this is where we got it back on with them going to the junction box, into the what's that called, the generator. At first they kind of mixed it up, going to the opposite way of the wall until they finally went to the actual wall. They pulled a plug, but this is where it set off an alarm. But they had to put it in there to get to fix the circuit that generates the lights in the building. But yeah, this is where we got the match. This is where before they can even introduce the metaphor into this championship match, is where they got attacked from behind by the unholy union. This is where they brought the early start of a fight. I guess they're trying to make this like a warm-up match, for their next tag team match at SmackDown, the Go Home Show this Friday. The go-home show this Friday. But this is where we got the Albert Fire started with Jakar Jackson hit a suplex face plant after they were done doing the beating onto the metaphor female members. This is where she tags Isla Dawn, go for double knees to the head. I guess that send a reference message to somebody that we might know in the wrestling business that's in a totally different women's division, perhaps, but that's a different story for a different day. But this is where we got Isla Dawn tags in Albert Fire. This is where then Alba then picks up Jakar right in the middle of the ring, try to go for some kind of maneuver. This is where we got Isla Dawn to try to go for a right hand on the Lash Legend, which she successfully did. This is where then she hits an axe handle on to Jakar Jackson. Alba did. This is where she sent her right on to Isla Dawn's way in the upper right side when she was in the middle. This is where she caught her with her legs. She went right into the upper corner apron. This is where she got her in this like this upside down stretch maneuver because she was right upside down with her legs wrapped around the arms and the upper torso of Jakar. This is where she gets super kicked by Alba Fire. This is where we got Alba to hit a big right hand. This is where she did more punishments right into her corner in the lower right side by even sending her face first right onto the turnbuckle and tagged in Isla Dawn. Isla Dawn started spearing Jakar Jackson right on in the midsection, right into the bottom, trying to cave her in there, but I don't know how she can manage to pull that off. But this is where we got Isla Dawn and Alba Fire then attempt to go for a double suplex. This is where then they were successful of hitting the maneuver onto the second female member of the Metaphor. This is where we got Isla Dawn try to do exactly what she did earlier to Lash Legend when she got up on their corner on the right side, but lightning does not strike twice, and she end up getting punched right into the face. And along with Alba Fire, this is where she pump kicks the current women's one half of the women's tag team while choke slam pushing what's her name chokeslam pushing Alba Fire out in the ring with her tag partner. This is where then she went right to the left side ropes, hung on to the middle ropes. This is where then we got Jakar Jackson hit a suicide dive onto the Isla Dawn while Alba Fire moved out of the way and went back to her position. This is where we got Jakar Jackson and Lash Legends. Yeah, that's what we do here in NXT. What the Metaphor do at least. And this is where Oral Men's is like, yeah, that's right. And start doing a little pose with them. This is where we got Jakar Jackson threw Alba Fire back in the ring because I believe she was the legal woman. This is where she tags in Lash Legend. This is where she hits a mid-rope splash, but she ends up getting like a 2.5 count. This is where then she send her right back over to Jakar Jackson. Jakar Jackson's up to Jakar in their corner in the upper left side. They did a double team on her once she tags her in. This is where we got but once Jakar Jackson tried to go for a pin, Alba Fire easily kicked out at a 1 even. This is where then somehow Alba Fire got back in control, sends her right into her corner in the bottom right side. This is where then she starts stomping her in the head. This is where we got Isla Dawn got tagged in. She started doing her version of the stink face onto what's her name? Onto Jakar Jackson. This is where then we got Alba Fire did do a super kick, follow that up with. This is where we got Isla Dawn try to flip her over to a pin, but she ended up getting like a 2.1 count. This is where we got Isla Dawn that tags in Alba Fire. This is where she got going for an abdominal stretch. This is where we got but this is where we got Jakar Jackson move start moving back into her feet and then go for a hip toss right onto what's her name, Alba Fire. This is where then Alba then tried to stop Jakar. This is where somehow Jakar got free out of the what's that called, the wheel, the hold against her wheel again onto Alba Fire. Somehow she got free out of her grasp. This is where, but she tags in what's her name, Lash Legend. This is where Lash Legend was hitting a comeback move once Isla Dawn got tagged in by Alba. This is where we got Lash Legend to try to go for what's that called, a fallaway slam. But at first she slammed Isla Dawn right into Alba Fire. That was trying to come in and save her tag partner. But this is where she gets flipped right over after she slammed her with her feet right into Alba's face. This is where we got Isla Dawn that pushes what's her name, Lash Legend right over to her partner. Thank you, Birdie Bird. This is where then we got what's her name? Then Isla Dawn got up into her corner in the upper right side. This is where, okay, I can open that. This is where, okay, mommy, okay. Anyway, this is where then we got this is where then we got this is where we got what's her name? This is where we got Isla Dawn then attack Jakar Jackson right into the corner. This is where we got Isla Dawn went back, hit a backstabber onto Lash Legend. This is where then we got But it's, and after she did that is where we got a little swanton that Alba Fire did, which I'm thinking that's her signature move, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But if not her finisher, but this is where then she tried to go for a pin after following that up. But this is where she gets kicked. This is where she probably would have gotten away with it sooner if it wasn't for them, wasn't for a meddling metaphor member, and that is Jakar Jackson's metaphor sister or metaphoric sister, if that makes sense, of course. But this is where then we got Alba Fire, then try to go for like what's that called, a gory bomb. But this is where we got this is where Lash Legend then they try to flip right out of her like DDT like maneuver. This is where we got Jakar. This is where then we got what's her name? No, stop it, Trey. This is where then we got Alba. This is where we got what's her name? Alba Fire going for a tornado DDT onto Lash Legend. Like once Lash Legend try to come back. Oh, be careful. Trey. Anyway, Assassinator, sorry about that. But yeah, this is where we got Alba Fire to start going for a chop war onto Lash Legend. This is where we got Big Joseph also talks about like Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair sending messages on their respective social media accounts, most specifically Twitter or X nowadays. This is where we got Lash Legend won the battle, like after countering out of an Irish whip and sent what's her name, Alba Fire right to the upper left, the upper right side. Here's where then she goes, put her right up in the middle rope. This is where she hits her with that electric chair kind of slam, but this is where Alba Fire somehow flipped right out of it. Somehow, but this is where we got what's her name? Lash Legend tried to stop her from escaping, try to go for a reverse Alabama slam. But this is where we got somehow like Alba Fire was not trying to let go. This is where I got Lash Legend and tags in Jakar Jackson. This is where she hits her with a sliding cutter. This is where we got trying to go for a pin. And she probably would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for a meddling unholy witch that had to stop and ruin the fun. And a metaphor. This is where we got Lash Legend trying to come in and save the day for her ally. But this is where she gets dumped right outside once she tried to clothesline Isla Dawn out of the ring. But she ends up getting thrown right instead. Isla Dawn was right onto the right corner ropes. This is where she hits the meteor right into her face. Jakar Jack tried to go for a round kick onto Alba Fire, but Alba Fire intercepted and hit a kick right into her head. And this is where the Unholy Union then did their double team maneuver with Alba Fire does the gory bomb like maneuver while Alba Dawn has that face plant like double team combo. They got the 1, 2, 3. Still your women's tag team champions and on their way to face Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. And the funny thing about this, like if the Metaphor did won this match, yeah, it would have been facing Bianca and Jade Cargill on SmackDown this coming Friday on the Go Home show. Instead of Alba and Isla. But that did not happen, unfortunately, for Metaphor. And it's going to be going to be the Unholy Union. But either way, I'm giving them a ginormous congratulations of their latest victory. Now, I have to give it a rate. I would say maybe like a I'll say a third place spot. The best matchup of the night because the Heritage Cup Championship match would probably deserve the second place spot for sure. Even though the women's tag team, this women's tag team championship match was very entertaining and in many ways, and so that the women's tag team championships are finally being treated with much respect that it deserved. And I was thinking to myself, like, I wish that this tag team division was like this a couple of years ago at least. No, but anyways, yeah, this is where we got All Legal Ethan Page came out after Oral Menza tried to check on his female counterpart. This is where All Ethan Page like, oh, look at this pathetic loser, and then this is where fans like boo boo. And this is where he's like, lady, and this is where he's like, I truly hope that you paid Oral a favor for this week. Because next week, like, we got. This is where it's like, because we all know that it won't be any fluke victories next week on week 2 of NXT Great American Bash. Now you're like, this sure as hell won't be, and this sure in hell wouldn't be 1, 2, 3 with Oral Menza getting the pinfall. Excuse me for a second. Anyway, he said like there won't be any fluke victories, and it sure as hell wouldn't be 1, 2, 3 in our match in 7 days tip timing. You know, like really, like I thought it was gonna be tonight, but no, it's not gonna be scheduled for next week. This is where while what's his name? All he goes, Ethan Page was talking. This is where fans start chanting 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, when 1, 2, 3. This is where then what's his name? Then Ethan Page was like, well, like there's one thing I'll let you know, or because this is the best look that you're ever gonna get in this, and with my NXT championship. And it was where they try to do a sneak shot and try to hit him and whack him right into the face. You know, trying to get this is the only closer look that he's gonna get with the title. Not thinking to myself like that may be true in a way, like in the next 7 days timing, but this is where we got Oral Menza luckily ducked out of the title hit attempt right into the head. He rolled him up into the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling is the surprise roll up. And Jakar Jackson and Lash Legend of the Metaphor counted to 3. And I was dying with laughter. I was like, it happened again, but this time with Jakar Jackson and his female teammates and Metaphor sisters. What's their names? Jakar Jackson and what's his name? What's her name? Lash Legend. Like if he's Britney Spears, he did it again. Well, anyway, but this is where then we got what's his name? Sean Spears met up with what's his name? Cedric Alexander. That's where he was like, that's where he was trying to train the new guys in the performance center or something. In the wrestling ring, but this is where then Sean Spears was like you don't know anything that in this business to teach to these students. This is where then he said like you lost while you lost last week, you missed the match that was most important. That when I helped a man won his match at the same night. All thanks to my teachings, and there's the power of the open. He's like, in my power of my teaching, like you start telling this to to these new guys that are enhancement talent of WWE. He's like, thanks to my teaching, Brooks Jensen is finally seeing the light. And he's like, you think, and I can see the differences of his success in his life, Cedric. And he's like, what he said to Cedric I was hearing this way. This is where he's like, he started saying it in his chuckling voice. This is where, right after he said Jensen is seeing the light, yeah, he's like, I'm gonna let the fire right underneath you, Cedric, and I can do the same for you, but you just ain't successful is because of you. And this is where Brooks Jensen was right around the corner, and he heard this from a mile away. This is where he then took pleasure in this, and this is where he started yelling at Cedric Alexander's face. He was like, "You think I have a weak mind? You have a weak mind? I prove it. Like if you think I have a weak mind, we can show that we can throw down right here." And this is where we got Sean Spears calm down. Like, this is not the time and place for that. And this is where Brooks Jensen's like, I challenge you next tonight, like in match tonight. And this is where, again, we walked out of there. This is where we got the match. And let me tell you that match that was so darn entertaining. It may not be like in the top 3 list, but it was still pretty good. And they're finally giving Cedric Alexander TV time, even though it's on their developmental show. But I guess it's better than not being on any WWE programming at all, I suppose. But this is where we got Hank Walker and Tank Ledger, in case if I didn't say this, but if so, I'll still say it anyway. Like, I believe he was the host of the what's it called? They were the host of NXT Great American Bash, if I'm not mistaken. Right where we got, and this is where we got Hank Walker then asked Tavion Heights that while I was training with what's his name? Miles Bourne, just where he was like, what kind like you here's where he started asking them questions like saying like what is your reactions of this? What's your reactions of you getting this opportunity of a lifetime for the NXT Heritage Cup? This is a big opportunity. And he's like, what are your plans to try to capture it from Tony D'Angelo? This is where he's like, and how's your run going with the NCC? The NCC, NCCC. It was like around, like he's like, well, around this time, about 4 years ago, like I was at the Olympic Games, and in that same year, right, I won the bronze medal at the World Championship. He's like, but a year before that, right, I won the gold medal at the independent immature wrestling scene. He's like, and Tony D'Angelo, that he can brag all he wants, that he's the Don and whatnot, and of NXT. But he don't know I'm also an NCAA qualifier, like in wrestling. And I was like, I don't know, I have anything to do with you bragging about your achievements. I was like, yeah, sure, the Olympics is one thing, but that doesn't mean you brag on something that's a tad minor, though. But anyway, this is where we got. Okay, I think like I'm here live with the Don. Like you were. And you're going to be taking on a former Olympian tonight of Tavion Heights. Like, how are you going to get it done, Don? And then this is where Tony D'Angelo, like, I got to admit, like, yeah, Tavion was what we call a legit guy. Right? Yeah, that's big time stuff when you're representing your country in the Olympics. Like, and also, but I don't do it every 4 years. Like, I do it every single day, man. Like, that's one thing he had on. And tonight, like, Tavion's gonna find out, like, in that very same square circle. And this is where then Tank Ledger then announced that it will indeed be for the NXT. That the NXT Heritage Cup Trophy match will indeed be at up next on tonight's Week 1 Great American Bash show. That's where we head over out to the ring and see that contest, which I'll give it second place, which I said earlier at the beginning of this podcast. But yeah. But before I get into the review, I think there was a segment it was a vignette with Pete Dunne, like when him sending a message of telling them why did he attack him last week. Remember that Pete Dunne her time when he was in Brooks, and he's like yeah, like side act of it, and and while Sheamus went back home, and we're talking when things got tough when Sheamus wasn't there, went back to NXT, and then Tyler suffered a triceps injury, and he got out of the picture. So, and he's like, and they're nothing like me, and that same occurs to you, Mr. Williams. All right, here's where then Pete Dunne's like, and you just come up to me and ask for answers, and try to figure things out of how to get back on top, right? And this where it's and also unlike you, it wasn't easy for me when I got here, because I started my wrestling career about 18 years ago at the age of 12 years old. And I was like, yeah, I heard about that, but I think somebody said it was 13. It's either they made a mistake or they said that's when he was getting started in his prime, probably in that year. Either way, he started in his preteens. He's been successful at it ever since, and that's how he got into the WWE business. At the age of, I'll say 23, and he became a second ever United Kingdom champion. And that's where we got Pete Dunne's yeah. And this is where then he's and I that the travel everywhere in the bus, right? And imagine a bus, and being in the bus full of people, nobody didn't step up to me, when I was when I used to travel on the bus, I used to be picked on and bullied at my young age, and there was nobody that there to stand up to me and stick up with me, because they were so scared of their lives as well, and they just let me in a black eye and in a beat up state, but I handle business. But I handle business on my own, because you know why, Trick? And then this is where the Trick was you know what you have to do, you have to figure it out. You don't have it all. Why are you asking me for advice? If anything, I should be asking you for advice. And he was you're just you're 6 foot tall. You got the world is basically your oyster. You beating the likes of Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo Hayes, and you became NXT champion. And he's and this where then he said and you would thought that he don't have nothing to ask for, but no, when things go tough and you lose that said championship, you coming to me for answers. Well, I'm from next week. You're gonna pay, and then I'm gonna force you to figure it out. And then this is where he gave a big grin and did a shrug emoji like he did last week when he did that missile dropkick on the Trick after he ambushed him. This is where he saw it on his. This is where Trick that saw it on his monitor, started chuckling, took off his shades. He was like, "Okay, Peter, yeah, let's see, let's see if you can take that. See if you can really teach me something next week. I'd like to see that." And then this is where he's like, and I'm not gonna only just whoop that Trick. I'm gonna be whooping that ass. And do you think that he's going to? And what are your before I get into ask questions, who's gonna win this match? I want to ask what are your thoughts onto this match finally being scheduled on tonight? And then that's another thing that was great about NXT Great American Bash. They're having everything prepared and ready for the second week, which will be on live on August 6th, 2024. And yeah, and we also saw more coming that's going to be scheduled for next week, including the NXT Tag Team and the Women's North American Championship match. But I'm gonna get into that in just a moment. This is where we got the No Quarter Catch Crews, Tavion Heights taking on what's the name? Tony D'Angelo next. Is where we got Tony D'Angelo, like starting off the match because he's professional in this kind of match stipulation. This is where then we got Tavion Heights went right to the right side. But this is where we got Tony D'Angelo's ready to try to go for a hip toss, but he gets countered by Tavion. He gets hip tossed right into the other arm. This is where and after he was doing an arrogant taunt, this is where he gets speared by the Don of NXT and sideways spine bust that made him do a cartwheel like about a I'll say maybe about like a 240 in the air, I guess you could say. This is where then we got or maybe a 230. I'll say maybe I'll just put 240 in. This is where then he picks him up. This is where a headlock. He slams him right to the ground. This is where he then got him locked in, started trying to choke him out. This is where we got Tavion is like, no, I will not surrender. Like, and this is where then Tony D'Angelo's like, but you're gonna have no choice because you're not gonna win this trophy. This is where then we got Tavion Heights and try to get back up, but he managed to get slammed right back down right into the canvas. This where, but until the second attempt, like it was a guarantee for the young new latest member of the NCCC. Like with him finally Irish whipping the Don right into the left side, went for a sleeper, but it was only just a matter of seconds that the Don was gonna flip right out of it. This is where we got Tony D'Angelo didn't go for a wrist lock, try to go for a gut wrench, but this is where we got Tavion was grabbing onto his waist with his arm and try to go for a gut wrench powerbomb. But this is where Tony D'Angelo didn't go for a gut wrench, but this is where they start going upper, forward. This is where we got Tony D'Angelo then managed to slam him down to the ground. This is where we got Tony D'Angelo try to go for an ankle lock next before the timer ran out, but it was too late because the 3 seconds went up, and then it was like 3, 2, 1 actually. I'd say 3. But that's where Tavion Heights did not tap out. This is where we got what's her name? Also, Ren Sinclair was sitting in the audience, being the Liv Morgan of NXT, like in this era, I guess you could say. Like this, where they got like about like a 3-minute break, I guess you could say. This is where they got back right into the match. This is where we got Tony D'Angelo then gets headlocked by Tavion Heights. Like once he when they were back at each other, going back and forth. But this time it was that Tavion Heights was getting all the offense until Tony D'Angelo eventually got back up on his knees and feet. This is where then he tried to go for a headlock, but this is where we got Tavion then go put his legs on the rope. But this is where we got Tony D'Angelo going for an armbar onto Tavion. This is where then Tavion was like, oh no, you don't. Like, I'm gonna roll you up. This is where then he go for the surprise roll up, which is known as the most devastating move in all professional wrestling, but Tony D'Angelo kick out of it at 2.5. This is where Tony D'Angelo Irish whip him right to the bottom right side, but he getting hit right into the jaw. This is where he kicks him right in the gut, hit a single right axe handle onto Tony. This is where Tony then. This is where then we go for a. This is where he tried to go for a fallaway slam, but this is where Tony D'Angelo then fall right up on his body. This is where then we got him trying to go for a pin, but he only got a 2.2. That's where they both got back up. Eventually, he kicked him right in the gut. This is where he tried to go for a gut wrench suplex. This is where Tony D'Angelo then go for a twisting. Forget about what's that suplex? Fisherman's neck breaking suplex, which helped him got the 1, 2, 3 in the first fall. This is where. That's where then we got Miles Bourne. Not Miles Bourne. But yeah, I'm right. Yeah, Miles Bourne. That's where Miles Bourne to try to pick up Tavion Heights, but that's where Ren Sinclair shoves him out of the way. I was like, man, this guy cannot get a break of getting attacked by girls. Well, partially it's all his fault, but the other half, in this case, like, yeah, I feel bad the guy in the way. That's where Ren Sinclair's like, you're Tavion Heights. You're what's that? Like, you're an Olympian. Like, you're a bronze medalist. Like, even though that's not much as the gold medalist, but you can show him like what you made of. Like, and this is where like go up there and then kick some amateur ass or something like that. This is where then she starts shouting. I'm like, if she's his coach, this is where it's like, you need to do, you need to go, you can do this. You gotta believe, you got to hit hard. This is where she did a teeny slap right into his face, like that very it probably barely hurt, like because they like she just tapped him rather than just give a full force. Like, but it's get something to hype up, and it seemed like it kind of worked in a way because he started hitting some fists. That even when Tony D'Angelo pushes him to try to get back into offense, this is where he tried to go for a clothesline. He thought it was going to be an easy hit, but this is where we got taking out Heights, then duck out of the way, went right to the right corner side, hits a swinging with that arm to the head slam, like a neck breaker maneuver. This is where he goes for a belly to belly suplex. Once he got back up and went to right side, once we got Tony D'Angelo got back up, this is where he easily got a 1, 2, 3. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, like I did not expect this. Like, I did not know Ren Sinclair could have hyped him up too much to the point that it's going to help him get a single win. I was like, imagine if it was like just a one-on-one match without being the 2 out of 3 falls rules of 6 rounds, like we might have seen a Heritage Cup champion, but that's only if Tony D'Angelo didn't got the first fall though. But this is where then we got them going back to their post. But this is where we got Miles Bourne and Ren Sinclair and Charlie Dempsey was arguing in the ringside. This is where Tavion Hyde's like, "Hey, I'm here," and then this is where they're like, "Oh yeah, like." And that's where they continue to motivate him while they're trying to wipe some sweat or something off and try to get him ready for the next round, which was the 5th round, I believe. This is where Tavion Heights started to go for it again. But this is where we got Tony D'Angelo kicked out at 2.5. This is where then we got Tavion to pick up Tony, but this is where Tony started with that countering him or intercepting him, hits a forearms. This is where he gets belly to belly by Tavion. This is where Tavion tried to go for a pin, thinking it's going to happen again, like if he's Britney Spears. But this is where we got Tony D'Angelo answering with a kick out at 2.8. This is where Tavion was like, okay, like. And that move was getting kind of old anyways. Like, I might as well go back right here where he tried to go for a shoulder block, but this is where he gets dodged out of the way by Tony D'Angelo. He landed in the middle ropes. Tony D'Angelo hit a big right hand. This is where he hits the second hit. This is where he goes right to the bottom rope. This is where he hits a spinning back elbow strike. Like if he like Bray Wyatt. That's where he hit the belly to belly suplex to him, like in his comeback move, like under his arsenal. This is where then he hits a double-A spine buster, follow that up with. This is where Tony D'Angelo's like, ah! And this is where Tony D'Angelo's like, okay, like no time for fun games, like time to put him away once and for all. This is where he hits him with that followed up with that stand-up spine buster to put things to rest for the 1, 2, 3, and still your NXT Heritage Cup champion, and that is the Don of NXT and the leader of the D'Angelo family, Tony D'Angelo. And I want to give a ginormous congratulations on this win. Yeah, this is definitely getting the second place spot because it had some very intriguing moments. Like it showed that Tavion Heights could be ready for some singles gold, like whenever it's been given him the like what's that if it's like a passing chance like of him getting a shot at the championship, like yeah, like I think that he'll be thriving even more. Like this is just his first his championship opportunity, and he knocked it right out of the park. And yeah, some tells me it won't be the last, but I'm not sure if it'll be the last of the Heritage Cup Championship. But yeah, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Like, let's hope they push him to the moon. It seemed like they're kind of replacing him with what's his name? Damon Kemp. Yeah, I nearly forgot about his name. Like, I totally forgot about him in a way. But yeah, let's move on to the next slide. This is where we got. This is where then we got what's their names on posted on X the three of the Hill Alliance in the women's division of JC Jane, Fallon Henley, and what's her name, Jasmine Nickstar, complaining about Carmen Petrovic, Lola Vice, and Soruka with the. But the baby faces responded back saying, like, you need to stop complaining about us, like about the fact that y'all's glory days as champions, like I'm talking about the tag team championships, are or over, and it's not going to come back. And I was like, yeah, that's going to be true. Like for two reasons why. But yeah, this is where we got Lola Vice then was wearing her boxing gloves because she was training, but after she was done, this is where she sent a message video, and this is where she's like, "All right, let's solve this Tuesday on NXT at Great American Bash, it's gonna be in a woman tag match." This is where then she said like, "All right, goodbye now." This is where she clocked out her phone or camera that she was recording with, like knocking down and ending the video that way, and I was like. I was telling her, I was like Lola, like I know you're trying to look intimidating, but you don't have to take it out on your recording, your electronic recording device. Like yeah, like that's very expensive to be doing that, even though you get paid like hundreds and thousands, like maybe even $500,000, if not a full $1,000,000, like depending on like how much they're paying you on NXT. But this is where we got what's his name? What's Brooks Jensen then came out because he had Cedric Alexander to take on. This is where we had the match starting. This is where they start going at it. This is where we got Cedric Alexander. Then got the offense in at first for like about 5 seconds until he gets Irish whip right to the right side. He hits a sunset flip right onto Brooks Jensen. This is where Brooks Jensen instantly kick out at 2.1. This is where then we got him Irish whipping right to the right side. But this is where Cedric Alexander hits a baseball slide, like if right between Jensen's legs, like if he's what's his name, Xavier Woods. This is where he hits an arm drag. This is where he started going for an abdominal stretch onto the master of the lumbar. This is where then we got. Well, this is where we got what's his name? Cedric Alexander threw him right to the upper right side, but this I know, yeah. This is where then he bounced right into the right side. He knees him right into the face with a knee strike. This is where we got Brooks Jensen was right on top of him, hit some right hands to the face onto Cedric Alexander. This is where the referee's like, all right, stop. And this is where then Brooks Jensen like, why? He's not hanging on to the ropes. This is where what's his name? Brooks Jensen made a good point. This is where he tried to go for a pin. This is where the referee counted to 1, referee counted to 2. This is where Cedric Alexander kicked out at 2.3. And this is where we got the chairman Sean Spears came out to watch this match up close. This is where we saw Brooks Jensen then threw Cedric Alexander in the upper right side. This is where he tried to go for a springboard dodge, but this is where he caught him right in midair. This is where he laid him in a tree of woe position in the bottom right side. He went diagonal from him right into the upper left side. He hits a flying back elbow strike right into the gut onto the lumbar, the mayor of lumbar, I guess you could say. That's where we got. That's where then we got what's his name? Brooks Jensen trying to go for a pin, but this is where we got only like a 2.7 count. This is where he was like, "Oh, come on, do your damn job, ref." And that's where the referee's like, "I am doing my damn job." Like that's what the count ended up at. Like it was at 2.7, and that's where we got Brooks Jensen going for a headlock. This is where we got Cedric Alexander then going right back up. This is where the Cedric Alexander started hitting some rough elbow strikes right into the midsection onto Brooks Jensen. This is where he followed up with a jawbreaker. This is where we got Cedric Alexander came from the right side. He hits a forearm strike right into his face. This is where we went to the top corner rope. Hits another forearm strike because he was going for a comeback. This is where he then dodges out of the way once Brooks Jensen did not know what running attack move to hit on the former Cruiserweight Championship, so he bounced him right to the left side. He German suplexed him in the middle of the ring. All right, like this is getting better and better. Like I got him right where I want him. Like I just need to finish him off right here. This is where Cedric Alexander hit a big forearm shot right into the jaw of Brooks Jensen. He snap him right in the middle of the ring. He runs right to the right side, hit a missile drop kick. Now this is where I was looking at Cedric Alexander, like if he's the new Swerve Strickland of WWE, I guess you could say. And this is where he hits a Kanoku driver, follow that up with right onto Brooks Jensen, but he only got a 2.99999999999 double triple nine minus 0.1 away from being 3. And then it basically showed like how Cedric Alexander used to be. And And this is where we got Cedric Alexander then grab onto the legs onto Brooks Jensen, but this is where Brooks Jensen kicks him right off. He kicks him right in the face after trying to grab him for last time, but this is where he trips right down into the left side of the ring. This is where we got Brooks Jensen flips himself right up like Sheamus used to do. But this is where we got Cedric Alexander try to go for an avalanche suplex, but he gets shoved right into the throat. This is where we got Brooks Jensen hit a flying elbow drop, like big leg drop, like if he's Fandango. That's where he goes for the cover. That's where free count one, referee count to two. But Cedric Alexander got the shoulder up at the final second, 2.99999999999. Double triple mind one away from being three. And he's always good for that when it comes to kicking out. Like make sure that shoulder gets up before the referee can even put his hand on the canvas. This is where then we got Brooks Jensen throws Cedric Alexander right into the right side. That's where then we got Vic Joseph was like, I just don't like it when they get this too close to us like this on the announce table. This is where we got Brooks Jensen hits this suplex face flatliner kind of maneuver onto Cedric Alexander right onto on the announce table. This is where we got Brooks Jensen got up right on the apron and the right side. Is where there's a referee's like, oh, you better get back in this ring or else y'all both get counted out. And this is where then this is where the Brooks Jensen's like, you don't tell me what to do. I hate it when people try to be the boss of me around here. And then this is where the referee's like, yeah, but like you got to follow the rules. Like I'm not trying to be the boss of you. And this is where we got Brooks Jensen to try to go for a torpedo dive right onto to Cedric Alexander, but Cedric moved right out of the way. He hits right into his left knee. This is where he's like, my knee, like this is the worst pain I've ever experienced. This is where Cedric Alexander hit him with the lumbar check, taking advantage of the moment when Brooks Jensen distracted on his minor injury that he sustained. I'm not sure if it's exactly minor, but it seemed like it's probably not so bad. Like maybe he'll recover from it like before it's even the 7th day. But this is where, we got Cedric Alexander hit his finisher, 1, 2, 3. Your winner of this match, Cedric Alexander. And then finally, they're utilizing him. And, even though it's on their developmental show, at least it's better not using him at all. And he's probably going to be heading out along with her business allies like Bobby Lashley and MVP. And then Neil Devlin will be doing a reunion at a promotion like AEW. But Cedric Alexander got a win, all because Brooks Jensen brought down the Phoenix and kept his eye off of him for a point of a second. This is where he was very ticked off, like things did not go according to plan like it did last week. This is where then Shawn Spears was like, when are you gonna learn, boy? And then this is where then Brooks Jensen was very ticked off. He was like, no, like that's not supposed to happen. Like it is what. It is where then what's his name, Javon Evans told a little bit about his life, saying like his parents used to fight and argue all the time, but when that TV goes on, like the only thing you be yelling, the only thing that's yelling in the house is Michael Cole, Michael Cole is big shocking shocking calls onto very extreme spots, like which they showed Shawn Michaels with the moonsault right on the Undertaker. Funny thing, they showed that because that's the same WrestleMania that my brother ordered back 14 years ago, back in 2010. But this is where we got. But this is where then he said my mom was a fan of Cena while my dad was more of a Booker T guy. Just because, the catchphrase, can you dig sucker? And then this way he's like, my parents divorced when I was about 6 years old. And he's like, I got a little angry after they did. But when I saw Jeff Hardy and RVD jumping off that top rope, hitting their respective finishers, the Swanton and the 5-star frog splash, it was I had no worries then there. Yeah, this is where he's like, I can tell the story, I guess. But at the second grade and reset, I seen it. I saw this wall, and he's like, so I climbed the wall, and I saw my friend, I played wrestling, and I thought I was Jeff Hardy, and I just jumped right over them and hit the swanton, and that got me in trouble though. I can't get in trouble for telling this story, right? And this is where he told that to the guy behind the camera. This is where he let him know that he won't get in trouble. He's like, all right, great. This is where He's like, yeah, and I was younger. Like I usually tell my teachers to suck it, like D Generation X, do the cross chop, like the Young Bucks would totally agree of him doing that because that's what one day he's gonna make him into a star in this business. But that's where we got Javon Evans then said, like, yeah, like he used to say, and he said he used to sneak into the neighbors' house in the backyard. I mean, not in their house, but their backyard, like with a because they had the trampoline. Like, and once they gone, they sneak right there and invite his friends to play wrestle.